What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of your Daily Reddits. These are the stories I'll be reading today. Now let's get right into it. This first story comes from the subreddit r/malicious compliance. Illegal to cut down trees? Fine. I won't cut them down. My town had some pretty strict bylaws about cutting down trees within town limits. It's because we're part of a green belt or something, meaning we have to maintain a certain amount of green space on our properties. So, for example, you can't just pave over your entire front lawn for extra parking spaces. And any existing trees on the property must be left alone, unless removal is absolutely necessary for construction purposes or safety concerns. Normally, this isn't an issue because we're a fairly rural town. The lots are pretty big, and having a lot of tree cover gives you a lot more privacy. Where this became a problem was in 2016, when a massive ice storm hit that knocked out power for 3 to 4 days. It also severely damaged a large tree on the front lawn of a 25-acre lot just on the edge of town. The man who owned the lot was a retired farmer, about 80 years old, who was a well-known figure in the community. He had built the house pretty far back off the road on his property and right next to a massive tree, the same one that was now damaged by the ice storm. Spring came and the tree died, and it looked like it was now in danger of falling on the house. He had a local tree service come out to inspect it, and they confirmed that if something wasn't done, that the dead tree could fall down, possibly towards the house, since there was a large split forming in the trunk as a result of the ice storm damage. The tree service couldn't do anything without the man getting permission from the town first, since the tree would need to come down. Trimming would have been fine, but not cutting it down. To make it more infuriating, a neighbor literally next door was outside the town limits, and therefore was free to clean up the storm damage however he saw fit. The man went and applied for a permit to have the tree service come out and cut down the tree, and provided them with a quote from the tree service stating that it was a hazard. For whatever reason, the permit was denied by the town with no real reason given. With a nasty thunderstorm in the forecast, which he feared might send the tree crashing down on his house, and the town not giving him permission to do anything about it, he decided to take matters into his own hands and got a hold of a copy of the town's bylaws regarding this situation to see if there was a loophole somewhere. And oh boy, was there a loophole. The town had made a pretty serious mistake in writing their laws. Have you ever noticed how laws are always written in a really strange, overcomplicated way? Well, this is done on purpose to try and minimize any creative misinterpretations of the law. Our town, however, had written some of its bylaws in more or less plain English, saying that it was illegal to cut down trees without approval from the town. Note the word cut in that sentence. This is important. After a quick call to his attorney, this man somehow got a hold of a Caterpillar D7R, which is a big bulldozer for those of you who don't know. Probably borrowed it from a local gravel pit or something, since he had that kind of pull in town. Anyways, the next day when the bylaw officer, knowing full well that his permit had been denied, caught him cutting up the already fallen tree, he stopped to investigate. The man calmly explained that he had been using the bulldozer, which was still on the front lawn, to tear up a section of dead grass so he could reseed it, when he had accidentally bumped into the tree with the blade, causing it to fall over away from the house in the opposite direction from where it had been leaning. Obviously, the town saw right through the cover story, and knew full well that he had knocked the tree over with the bulldozer on purpose, and slammed him with a fine for it. He took it to court and won, as the town's bylaws stated that cutting down trees without a permit was illegal, but it said nothing about pushing them over with heavy earth-moving equipment. The bylaw was changed and has since been repealed entirely, and you're pretty much allowed to do whatever you want with your property as long as it maintains the green space requirements. This next story comes from the subreddit r/I-do-work-here-lady. Yes, sir, I'm working in your yard. You have an appointment. I'm a service technician for the gas company. I'm also the only female service technician for the gas company. This leads to confusion on a daily basis. So I arrived to a 9 to 12 appointment the other day at 9:05 a.m. Super simple job. Exchange gas meter, inspect gas equipment in the house, relight equipment, then be on my way to my next call. We get 30 minutes allotted for each job like this, but dispatch understands that this doesn't always work. Sometimes it takes 15 minutes if the old meter was installed well and the gas equipment is all new. But sometimes it takes 3 hours if I have to rebuild their whole service and coax an old boiler back to life. I grab my tools out of the truck, grab a new meter, and head to the front door. The call says hazard, dog. So I figure it's best to check in with the customer before I head into the yard. I knock and ring the doorbell. No answer. So I pull the customer's number off of the call and give him a ring. Me. Good morning. This is OP from the gas company. You have a meter exchange appointment booked for this morning. Is anyone at home? Customer. Not at the moment. Is the tech there already? Me. Yes, sir. I'm here at the address. Will you be home soon? Customer. Yes. Tell the tech to wait. I'll be home in about 15 minutes. Me. Okay, I'll wait for you. Can I start working in the yard, or is your dog outside? But the customer just hangs up, so I decide to wait. Anyway, it's negative 28 degrees Celsius, with negative 40 in the wind chill. I'm bundled up, but I'm going to be outside all day, so I decide to wait in the truck to preserve my warmth. I drop my tools and the new meter off at the gate to the yard, and sit in my truck until the customer pulls into the driveway. When the customer arrives, I immediately shut my truck off and jog over to the house. Customer. So, I spoke with someone in the office and they said the tech was already here. Where is he? I have to get back to work soon. I can't wait here all morning. Me. I am the tech, sir, and that was me you spoke with. If you're all good, I'll get that meter changed out for you and then get your furnace and water heater going. Customer. Well, if you say so, but if that's the case, where are your tools? Me. Over by the gate. I left them there so they'd be ready to go when you got here. Customer. Okay. Say, how long have you been doing this? Me. This specifically? A little over a year. Working in the industry? Almost 9 years. Customer. Okay, go ahead. You don't have anyone coming to help you? Me. No, sir. This is a very simple job. I should be able to have it done in 15 to 20 minutes or so. And the call said you had a dangerous dog. Is it contained? Customer. He's a 12-year-old beagle. You're fine. I don't know why anyone thought he was dangerous. So I could have started almost 3/4 of an hour ago at this point. And my next 2 calls were in jeopardy because of how long I'd been here. So I get to work. And sure enough, his meter set is in pretty rough shape. I pull the meter off with some difficulty and my largest wrenches. And then start cranking some of the bad fittings out so I can rebuild part of the set to make this job easier the next time we have to change the meter, and generally safer. He was leaning over my shoulder the whole time, continually asking if I was sure I know what I'm doing, if I really don't need to call for help. I got my fitting done and went inside. Sure enough, the gas equipment was all high efficiency, so all it took was a couple of resets to clear out the air bubbles and it all fired up perfectly. The call took about an hour once I actually had my tools on, which is a little longer than anticipated, but a very good time frame for the work I wound up having to do to leave the place in a safe condition. A very good time frame, mind you, for any tech who could have had the call. As I was gathering my things to go, he got one last jab in. You know, I would really appreciate it if they would actually send a real tech next time. I don't feel comfortable having one of the office girls doing this kind of work for me. I'm going to have a word with the gas company and tell them as much. Me. Sir, for the last time, I am a qualified service technician. The next customer was a very sweet old lady who met me at the door and immediately presented me with muffins. She said, "They told me you were coming even though I thought it should be illegal to work in this temperature. I made muffins. Take them. You deserve it. They really shouldn't be making you work in this." This next story comes from the subreddit r/I-don't-work-here-lady. Entitled Drunk Lady Gets Barred for Life from Every Local Pub in the Village. Backtrack about 4 years to when I was about to leave my small village to begin the roller coaster that would be university. I had been working in a delightful pub for a couple of years. The week before I leave for my university, the owners of the establishment decided they would give me a lovely, yet rather expensive gift. This gift would be that my last night in the pub before leaving, I would be allowed to pour myself however many pints I wanted, on the condition that I didn't serve any customers. I should probably mention that me and my mates used to frequent my pub when I was off work, as it always had a great atmosphere and friendly people. Anyways, as the night goes on, I drink more of my free pints, and I have to decline a few customers as I'm no longer employed by the pub. Nobody questions it. Until Karen. Oh, sweet Lord Almighty, not even Lucifer would put her on this earth. Not your typical run-of-the-mill soccer mom USA Karen, but your short hair, only 2 front teeth, stench of cigarettes, disappointment, and child support which was spent on beer Karen. but she had been sat idly at the end of the bar, and me and the bartender on shift, we'll call him M, knew she was always a difficult customer. It gets to the end of the night, and bartender asks Karen to pay up her tab. Karenness ensues. Why do I have to pay for my drinks? OP hasn't paid for any of his. Bartender. It was a gift from the owner as it was his last shift after 2 years, and they wanted to say thanks and prep his liver for the university life. Karen. I've been a customer here for so much longer. Why have I never gotten a reward like that? Me, already a little wavy from the various pints. Karen, I don't work here anymore, and I can finally tell you, nobody here effing likes you, and we all feel sorry for your daughter who you drag in here with you whenever she's not with her father. Karen and bartender are both shocked. Karen, I'll get you fired. Do you know who I am? The owner is my best friend, and you'll never work in here or any pub in the village again. Bartender has just seen the perfect opportunity to strike back at Karen and says, Is that right? Owner is upstairs. Do you want me to let him know? Karen, yes. She smirks at me as bartender goes upstairs to let owner know that there's a complaint from a customer. Owner comes down the stairs, and the first thing he says as he sees Karen at the bar is, Oh, for heaven's sake. Instantly, as she hears this Karen begins yelling a string of obscenities at owner, bartender, and myself. Bear in mind, the pub isn't empty. Only last orders have gone, so there's still a lot of locals relaxing and drinking. The Karen is asked to pay up and leave. She refuses and threw her pint glass at the owner, and is instantly restrained by a few other locals and escorted out. Word travels fast around our little side of town, so within 2 days she was barred from all 6 pubs, and reported to the police for not paying multiple tabs all over town, accumulating to around 1,350 pounds for a 3-week period. Last I heard, the last time I visited my old hometown a few years ago, she had lost custody of her daughter, and the father now had full custody and moved away. Thank God, he was always a polite and respectful man.